The Russians detected the attack in 0.3 seconds, and it still wasn't fast enough. In the next 90, 24 Ukrainian FPVs crossed a muddy 400-meter kill lane while artillery locked onto the launch teams. The trick wasn't stealth, it was tempo. We'll show you how a weather break and a 3-team handoff at 140 kilometers per hour outpaced Orlan 30 laser designations and a Zupark M1 response, turning a defensive EW net into a timer Ukraine could exploit. See why 12 vehicles were immobilized or burning within 90 seconds of the first impact. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. They wanted stealth. They planned for a timer. Ukraine hit the launch switches only after the first spike on the spectrum analyzer, because the Russian SERV SS5 would see them anyway. That array flags FPV control signals in 0.3 seconds, scrubs direction on multiple masts, and pushes a clean grid to guns sitting 12 kilometers behind the column. Launch equals detection. Detection equals a clock. And that clock controls everything that comes next. Under that clock, detection should kill the operators. Orlan 30 circled above 2,000 meters with infrared on, hunting the faint heat of battery packs and hands. The same pod carried a laser designator, code matched to the artillery seekers. The Zupark M1 radar filled in the first firing solution, and laser-guided shells could ride the beam within 15 kilometers. The ground did the Russians another favor. Rain had turned the lanes to pudding. Relocating meant dragging cases and antennas through glue. 3 threats stacked at once: eyes overhead, guidance on call, and mud underfoot. Ukraine flipped the order of battle. They treated the Russian EW like a metronome. The instant the spectrum lit up, they counted forward. Their drills said 90 seconds from detection to impact, so every action fit that window. No slow creep to a launch line. No probing sorties. The plan started the moment the Russians saw them. The weather helped and made it urgent. A shower ended and the ceiling lifted. Visibility jumped from a few hundred meters to 2 kilometers. That made visual ID simple. The convoy stretched across a 400-meter strip near an abandoned collective farm. A cut-down of concrete pads and wind-scoured sheds. In 10 minutes, the column would tuck into hardened positions west of the tree line, where angles narrowed and overhead cover made hits harder. The opening would not last. Modern kill chains move like that for a reason. EW queuing trims the search space to a point, then sensors stack. Radar provides the rough math, airborne optics confirm, and a laser holds the last meters. In practiced batteries, crews can clear a fire mission in a minute. With laser-guided shells, the workflow is brutal and simple. Compute, load, fire, and keep the designator steady for the 30-second flight. The result is accuracy that punishes hesitation more than distance. So the teams built timing tables around those numbers. Each site carried the same brief. On signal lock, launch the entire package at once. Not waves, not staggered pairs, all 24 in one surge. Operators already knew their targets and routes, frequencies, bands, and power levels pre-assigned. The control stations had hotkeys mapped to switch profiles without scrolling. The idea was to overwhelm prioritization and deny the defenders time to hunt controllers while the guns spun up. That created a simple test. Russian systems detect fast. Can they aim and fire faster than 24 FPVs crossing a single kill lane at 140 kilometers per hour? The column filled one corridor. The drones only needed to pass through it once. Ukraine's confidence in the instant detection came from dry runs. They had rehearsed against the SERV SS5 sweep rates, logging when the array latched and how often it cycled. Previous contacts put the baseline at 0.3 seconds from transmit to tag. They codified that into the op order, turning the 90-second span into a tempo everyone could count in their heads. When the first tone hit, launch crews pushed sticks forward, and the plan existed on the clock, not on hope. Detection became a countdown. Now the challenge shifts from timing to traffic. How do you fly 24 killers through the same air at full speed, swap controllers on the move, and avoid a mid-air pileup? 24 FPVs, 3 teams, 1 muddy corridor. The handoff at full speed was the only way to keep the operators hidden and keep the swarm intact. Each team owned a slice of the sky and a slice of the clock. Launch sites clicked in together, but lanes and timing kept the stream clean over that 400-meter road. Team 1 drove from the northwest at 150 meters. Team 2 came from the northeast at 180. Team 3 slid in lower, 120 from the south. Each unit had time on target offsets preloaded, so arrival spacing formed a moving ladder, not a pile. The hazard lived in the swap. At 140 kilometers per hour, the drones hit a control gate and switched hands. 3 seconds of vulnerability while the link rolled from one controller to the next, waypoints synced, and the FPVs held speed on dead reckoning. Any stumble invited triangulation on the operators. Any delay meant a mid-air or a drift into a lane that belonged to someone else. Crews rehearsed those 3 seconds until muscle memory beat nerves. If a handoff glitched, the drone flew straight and low to a dead zone instead of wobbling toward a teammate. Weather pressed the margin thinner. A storm cell advanced at 30 kilometers per hour, pushing gusts that shoved drones up and down by 20 meters and seeded static across the feeds. Lightning spikes clipped the signal-to-noise ratio and created jitter on headsets. Operators set gain and contrast low to keep edges visible. Power sat at 60%, so they had only one pass. No redo, no loiter. If the cell swung overhead, video would grain out and timing would slip, so the swarm had to cross before the first downdraft hit the corridor. Electromagnetic pulse risk was real enough that teams kept backup compasses and cut max throttle bursts to avoid brownouts. Deconfliction carried the run. Altitude bands locked separation. Lateral offsets tied to road features. Ditch line on the right, tree row on the left. The culvert at midspan, marked where each package shifted. Speed governors in the firmware prevented eager thumbs from surging ahead. The arrivals on high-value targets were stacked in 5-second steps. Team 1 at the 2-kilometer gate at -45. Team 2 at -40. Team 3 at -35. That cadence pushed the first wave onto the BMPTs, with the following elements knifing into BMPs and fuelers as gaps opened. Swarm management techniques shaped the look of the attack. Identical airframes meant identical radar cross-sections, and that stresses automated target selection. Systems that sort by apparent size and closure rate start shuffling their queues when everything looks the same and arrives fast. The BMPT Terminator's airburst logic, built to weigh velocity and RCS, kept re-ranking threats as new returns popped in. Meanwhile, the turrets worked within limited arcs that left radiation-dark corners over the engine decks, around turret rings, and behind rear doors. 20 near clones ate the algorithm's time, and the blind spots did the rest. The defenders had guns, optics, and fuses ready, but the queue never cleared. With every 5 seconds, more FPVs crossed the lane, riding their offsets over the column. Engines took charges through grills. Optics lost glass. A turret ring seized after a detonation in the gap. One BMP rolled with its rear door cracked and took a hit that lit wiring and fuel vapor in a blink. Operators did not chase hero shots. They followed the gates, called hits, and moved to the next bracket while the artillery countdown ticked toward their launch grids. The window held. Within 90 seconds of the first impact, 12 vehicles were stuck or burning. The teams folded antennas, grabbed cases, and slogged to secondary spots as counter battery arrived late and angry. The attack wasn't invisible. It outran the response. Which raises the next question. What does that pace say about where tempo-driven combat goes from here? Turning detection into a timer flipped the kill chain. Stealth mattered less than pace. The launch queue triggered a race the Russians couldn't finish in time because every step, handoff, target queue, strike, was preloaded to beat the guns. Tempo delivered the result. So, is tempo warfare now the main lever in drone battles? What counters could shut the 90-second window? Jamming a laser designator, seeding decoys to soak radar, or cutting the links between sensors and guns? Let me know in the comments what you'd prioritize and why. When both sides see everything, victory goes to the side that moves first, finishes faster, and vanishes on time.